Hi there, I'm Durham McDermott and you're watching Dukascopy TV. Well, the US shutdown is finally over and delayed non-farm payrolls are expected out tomorrow. So let's see what Jean-François from MJT thinks about this. Welcome.
Hi, Dorian. Thanks for having me back.
So we are seeing with the euro dollar, now it is breaking out of the 13.45 to 13.65 level. You are expecting to see some resistance during the week, Jean-François, so tell us some more about what we're going to see.
Okay. Well, we're here on the daily mosaic of the main FX drivers. You have euro dollar, you have cable, you have Australian dollar, gold, US dollar Swiss, US dollar yen, 3 months treasuries and 3 months S&P, and 3 months the treasuries. We'll start with the euro.
Okay.
And we're on a daily basis here. And as you can see, the daily basis usually has a time horizon of about 1 to 3 months out. And it's still heading up at the moment and would still have potential. Last week when I came here, I was signaling that we might be getting towards intermediate tops. And because our oscillator, our risk index here is in the red. So we'll focus on the euro and look to what we have here. So this is an investor's view.
Yes.
It basically sums up the long term, the medium term, and the short term time horizon for investors. Meaning on the weekly we count in quarters, on the daily we count in months, and on the hourly we count in weeks. And what we could see is that the weekly is still heading up from a low base and does have quite a lot of potential, although the move has not accelerated yet. On the daily, we're heading up, and we just broke above a trading range, which we had been working for quite some time. And our targets, and I'll just focus on the daily here, are pointing that the next levels are in the range of 138.40 to 141.65.
Okay.
Now, we do have an exaggeration here over the short term, and we do think that around where we are at the moment, we're going to see some resistance, and that it's going to take some time to reach the 138.40, 141.65 levels. And I just wanted to put into perspective here that our hourly, which is the view over the week, over the next 2 weeks, is actually also in an overbought situation with the risk index being in the red here. And we have reached the targets as well as the time, which is which represents pretty much what a standard impulsive move should be. And so in this respect, from a risk-reward perspective, although we've broken out, there's probably not much more to go in the short term. I just wanted to move out from here and look at the trader's view, which is the view over the next days, to get more of a perspective. And what you can see here is that although we think we're close to an intermediate top on the dailies, that we are close to exhaustion on the hourlies, there's probably another day or so left on the 60 minutes. And the targets here could bring us up to the 137.40 level. Okay. Also, over the shorter term, this move up is still valid as long as we could keep above the 15 minutes corrective targets, and so as long as we could keep above the 136.34 level here. So we're correcting down at the moment. As you can see, the 4 minutes has had a bit of a down move this morning, but we really start to worry about the end of this move below 130. Sorry again. Focus on it, 136.34. Now going back to the mosaic, cable is pretty much the same as the euro. It still has a potential over the next between the time horizon of 1 to 3 months, but it's also in a short-term exaggeration. Australian dollar has made it out of the lows that we've seen during the month of August, okay, and is now moving up. We can't call this a strong move yet, because as you can see, we are still within what we call a corrective a target range. Meaning that as long as we can't make it above 97.21, which we're not very far away, we're not going to be able to confirm a larger move. And from the probabilities that we run, this is what is usually expected from a correction. And usually prices then turn back. So a bit of work maybe on the euro, on the cable, and also a resistance on the Australian dollar here. So although it seems like currencies against the dollar are well positioned at the moment if we take a medium-term time horizon, we may see a bit of resistance over the next week.
Okay, and we're going to have a look at gold.
Yes, so gold had moved in sync with the Australian dollar. Now it's weaker. We think it should be rolling over, and that the move that we see on the weekly, and let me focus on the investor's view here. So if you look at the long-term weekly chart, we are in quite some exaggeration in the oversold area on the oscillator, but the move doesn't seem quite over yet. And there's still potential down, maybe 200 points. So it's still quite a risky proposal. And so at the moment, we would have confidence in the trend, and so we'd still be a negative on it at the moment. And what we think could happen is that we've seen this correction up between July and the end of August, and we think gold could be rolling over again.
Okay.
And now it often happens with a series of two tops in a descending order. So we had one here at the end of August, and we might be expecting one now, and hence the recent reaction. This said, we would prefer that it doesn't break into impulsive territory on the hourlies, and so that we stay below the 1333 level. And as long as we do that, I'd be quite confident with our daily scenario of a resume uptrend. If not, it means that we are in a longer term move that could last 2 or 3 weeks, and we'd have to look at the daily to confirm the downtrend next week. Now if we go back to the mosaic, just didn't want to focus on dollar Swiss because it's pretty much the opposite as euro dollar. Dollar yen has been holding up much better.
Okay.
And we still think it's in an uptrend. It saw an intermediate top earlier this year, pretty standard shallow consolidation. It's still in a bull trend on the dailies. And although the hourly is in a bad trend, you see we don't have any targets here, so we're in a neutral position. What we will want here is for the hourly to accelerate again and make it into impulsive, a positive territory again. Not the case yet, so it's still on standby, but the long-term trend is still bullish for dollar yen. Now finally, on markets, the weekly long-term is still bullish. We think we're in a distribution zone. It's getting quite expensive on an oscillator, but our targets still point to more potential, and that over the next few quarters. So we still think, although the levels are becoming quite dangerous, that the stock market should still be well positioned into the early 2014 area.
Okay.
Now, the daily has gone through consolidation. As you can see, there's no targets here anymore. Mm-hmm. That also means that the targets are not in accordance with the direction of the trend here. And if you see, we had an intermediate top back in July. The consolidation has been quite shallow, and we think we're in a resume uptrend situation. So it's only a matter of days until we turn bullish again here, and which is confirmed here on our short-term hourly chart, which has been now bullish for about 2 weeks, and still have another week or so to go in some more potential. Finally, if we look at bonds have seen a lot of corrections since the tapering. And the question is this correction down over? The weekly is still pointing down, and still has some lower targets here, even if it's only a corrective move for now. The daily is still only in what we could call a correction up. So we'd have pretty much the same analysis as gold here, as we believe there's probably another leg down before this longer term move from May is over. And on the hourlies, we've pretty much reached a point of exhaustion or saturation here. So we might see a bit pressure down on the bonds and interest rates trying the last move up.
Jean-François, thank you for coming in. It's always a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much.
Well, that is it, but do stay tuned to Dukascopy TV for more Forex analysis. Goodbye for now.